What's going on, guys? I'm Jada Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Make sure you like this video and share it because I'm going to talk about a sad story out of Hollywood where a former model and wife of a Baywatch star by the name of Jeremy Jackson, it has been brought to the attention of the media that she is homeless. Not only she's homeless, she's struggling really badly. And from what I have seen in the article, she doesn't want any help. She doesn't want any help. And you can't help people who can't help themselves. Now, according to what I have read up on, this is a woman that has dealt with mental illness, not only mental illness, but drugs as well. Probably had a lot of issues and demons that she's always dealt with. And she was married for a couple of years, but divorced, I believe, in 2014. And that's when the spiral began because apparently she was homeless for almost 6 years. Then she went missing for 2 years and they just found her. Now, I don't think she has any family that she is close to or friends. She's just on the streets in Hollywood on Skid Row. And I want y'all to understand something. She's not the only sad Hollywood story. There's a lot, I won't say a lot, but there are women like her. There are also men who tried to gain that Hollywood dream that ended up not achieving it whatsoever and ending up homeless, either on drugs or dealing with mental issues. It reminds me a lot of the Delonte West situation. Delonte West is dealing with issues where he's been homeless. He's been struggling. He's out there. They try to help him. Then he regresses and they try to help him again. But it seems to me she doesn't want any help. And ever since her divorce, her life just changed overnight. You go from being an attractive model in Hollywood who's married to an actor to being homeless on the streets, dealing with all types of issues. But let's get into this article from The Sun. It says the homeless ex-wife of Baywatch star Jeremy Jackson has been found after going missing for 2 years. Speaking to The Sun, Loni Willison, who's 37 and is a former fitness magazine cover girl, rejected offers of help, saying, "I haven't spoken to Jeremy. I don't want to speak to my friends. I'm doing just fine. I don't want anyone to help me." See, that's the thing, man. And this probably comes from years of being homeless in Hollywood, in California. They don't care about the homeless population. You know what's funny? All those Hollywood actors and actresses who virtue signal, they don't even care about the poor people in their own city. I mean, they have to walk past them when they're walking their dogs or when they're driving down the street. They have to see all these homeless people. And they don't care. They care more about people who can't even speak a lick of English in another country that probably doesn't like them than they do their own citizens, people who tried to follow the Hollywood dream just like they did. That's why I find the virtue signaling from these Hollywood actors and actresses very hypocritical. Here you have a woman that had everything just as of 2011, 2012, only to be divorced in 2014 and her life just spiraled out of control, who I believe probably had demons and had issues way before she ever became well known as a fitness model. Now, she's only 37 years old. You look at her pictures, you look older than that. I mean, her newer pictures. But this is the reality. There's a lot of women out here struggling. So, our society, I'm hearing guys talk about how women are successful. They're out here achieving and they're winning. I'm seeing a lot of women struggling, especially with their mental health. All the freedom that they have gained hasn't really helped them at all to deal with the issues that they already had. Continuing, Loni, who was pushing a trolley containing her belongings and searching through trash cans and dumpsters, behind multi-million dollar homes in LA's Venice district added, "I can live on my own. I've got everything I need right here. Nobody really cares about me, and I don't want to see them. They don't want to see me." That's sad. That really is. And that's her reality. And that's the reality of a lot of people these days in this country. You will be forgotten about and nobody will care about you, but you have to care about yourself. It is very clear that she doesn't care about herself, because if she cared about herself, she'd want to do better. But ever since she got divorced, just spiraled completely out of control. "I haven't got a cell phone. I've got food and I've got a place to sleep. I get money here and there, and there's food in the bins and near the stores. There's lots here." The former beauty, who was once on the cover of Australia's Glam Fit magazine, is now living on the streets close to the Venice Pier in Los Angeles. This is how she's living, man. And I'm telling you, there are other stories just like hers. There are stories probably of other women who are struggling and homeless, who are models and actors and actresses all around Skid Row and other portions of LA that these people who virtue signal tend to pass up. But again, it's on her to get help. Nobody's going to make you go get the help. You need to want to get help, because I can't do nothing for you if you don't want help. If you don't want nobody to help you, then fine. Continue to live the way you live. Maybe one day you'll come to your senses and say, "I have a lot to live for." But obviously she doesn't feel like she has a lot to live for. She was once married. She was a model. She was looked upon as someone who was attracted, who had value. But I don't know, man. Ever since that divorce, it just seemed like it destroyed her. She disappeared in October 2018 after failed attempts by friends to get her into rehab. The blonde, who has several missing teeth, had been battling an addiction of crystal substances and alcohol, as well as mental health issues. She married Jeremy in 2012, but they split after a series of booze-fueled rows, which culminated in him allegedly attacking her at their West Hollywood home. Loni, whose last job was an assistant at a LA Cosmic Surgery Center, had a mental breakdown in 2016, then lost her job, apartment, and car, ending up living rough on the streets. Just imagine. I want y'all to imagine something. Imagine a woman that looks like this, who was working at a LA cosmetic surgery center, who has a breakdown and loses everything to the point to where she's homeless. And she looks like this. Imagine a woman like this who's homeless on the streets of Los Angeles. Just imagine. All right? Like, how did it get to that point? How did it get to that point? Now, some people say, well, she's just an average looking chick in Hollywood. She can be considered average. Maybe that's why, her life continued to spiral, because nobody cared except for her friends. No man was going to come and save her. Maybe she didn't trust men. Something triggered her to have a breakdown. But for somebody to go from being a model who's married only to transition into complete hopelessness is what it seems, because she can't get off whatever substances she's on, and she doesn't trust anybody. She doesn't want to get help. Sometimes you have to force people to get help. Most of those people who are homeless out there have those addiction issues. Instead of the virtue signaling celebrities talking about other countries and what's going on there, they need to focus on their own backyard. But, as I said before, they have to want to get help. It's sad, but that's just the reality. In LA's Venice neighborhood, she walked around several back streets looking for discarded food and clothing. She was just a block from the famous boardwalk, which had been swamped by increasing numbers of homeless people from around the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. She also wandered past the $5 million home Ben Affleck shares with his actress girlfriend Anna de Armas. Loni's ex Jeremy, who turned 40 on the day his ex was found, played Harvey Buchanan in Baywatch from 91 to 99 alongside his screen dad David Hasselhoff and stars including Pamela Anderson, Donnie D'Erico, and Yasmin Bleeth. Yasmin Bleeth, that was a looker, wasn't she? The former child star, who has himself battled addiction issues, is now a leading figure in LA fitness scene, and recent posts on his social media show him shirtless celebrating his birthday with friends. So he's had his demons, but he's dealt with them. It seemed like she hasn't been able to do the same. Asked 2 years ago about his ex, he replied, "All I can tell you is that my attention, my time, my focus is where I can be most effective, and we're doing all right." After he left Baywatch, he had problems with drugs and booze, later saying, "I smoked pot every day, and I did coke until it stopped working." Age 19, he was charged with possession and intent to sell, serving 90 days in jail. At 19 now. In 2011, he told Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, "I had fame, I had the girls, I had the money, and I threw it away." That's him there. The middle. "My drug of choice was the rock." was rocks. And it was big time downhill from that point. I was drinking, doing coke, chasing this high with girls and sleeping with them. It was out of control. After a stint in rehab, he appeared in 2015 Celebrity Big Brother in the UK, but was kicked off the show for opening model Chloe Goodman's robe. In April 2015, he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a man in Westlake, California, then fleeing the scene. The charges were reportedly dropped. He was arrested again in August that year after a woman claimed he had assaulted her. He was later sentenced to 270 days in jail and put on probation for 5 years. Hundreds of destitute Americans live in tents on or near Venice Beach, while others live in RVs parked nearby. Well, mainly I want to focus on her, but again, it just shows you that these two had a lot of problems. And you know what's funny? No, it's not it's funny, but you know what's crazy is that sometimes issues bring people together. They talk about their problems, their past. It can bring people together, but it can also tear them apart. And unfortunately, for this woman to be where she is, it's a sad situation. But again, she has to want to get help. And if she doesn't want help, there's really nothing anybody can do. There's nothing anybody can do. She has to make that choice. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see y'all next one.